All right, welcome back to the Authenticity Calling podcast. I'm your host, Ralitza, and I'm so excited to be joined today by a brilliant human being that I'm so enlightened to learn more about your journey. This is Stacy Nye, the F.I.X Code Academy co-founder and master trainer. Stacy, welcome to the podcast. Thank you for being here with us. And I'm so
Thank you for
curious.
inviting me.
Yeah, absolutely. What is the F.I.X Code Academy and what do you do? What is the magic behind it?
Oh, cool. Thanks for asking. So the F.I.X code is actually an acronym and it stands for FLIR, who Daniel FLIR is the creator and founder of this incredible technique that we used to talk about was like from the future, but he's ancient, like he's an ancient. And there's so many incredible stories that back all that right there, that up. But the F in F.I.X code is for FLIR, which is his last name. The I is for intuition, which is the practitioner or the person that's using the technique. It's their intuition. The X is for what we call extraction, which is actually the removal of what we call parasitic programs, like these horrible emotional kind of like monsters that live in us, that change our language, how we think, how we behave, our value systems that can be warped because of fears or false beliefs or that kind of thing. So we call them parasitic programs. So the X is for the extraction process, which is, it sounds so harsh. I've never looked at it this way, but it is one of the most beautiful. Extraction sounds like, wow, like rip it out. No,
Sounds like
no,
some
this
paranormal
is one of the
activity.
most, yeah, no. It's actually one of the most beautiful, calming, spiritual experiences I've ever had. And every time we do the work, it is that spiritual. Like we this technique brings you into the space of excellence. It brings you into the trueness of of yourself. It is exquisite. So there's nothing like harsh about this technique at all. The results are incredible. They're like very solid. And then the code, so it's the F.I.X code. The code is what we actually do the work on. So, for example, some code, like many codes, are sad, hurt, betrayed, not worthy, worthless, abandoned. Those are called codes in our world, because inside each one of those words, the coding that is in our physical bodies and our unconscious mind that renders us unconscious every time it's triggered, that is what we disconnect. We disconnect the coding that is the language, the thoughts, the pulling up all the memories of old things, the stories, the loops, you call your girlfriend 40 times and she's like, oh God, are we talking about this again? Please, can we move on? Like, let it go, Well, this technique allows you to let it go like that.
Wow.
And like, it's incredible. And it takes just a couple of minutes and it's
Wow.
non-invasive. It's beautiful. Like I said, it feels like a guided meditation. It's truly exquisite. It's very graceful. And which is why I fell in love with all of it. Like those are all my kind of jam words. Like, ooh, like I am graceful. I like integrity. I love integrity. I love excellence. I love being in the presence of excellence. And when I experienced this technique for the first time, it was all there. Like I was home. I was like, whoa, that was profound. And I never felt release and trueness in my life until I experienced this for the first time. And I have to say, it caught me off guard, like brutal, like wildly off guard, because I wasn't expecting anything. Because my girlfriend had made this appointment for me. It's not like I searched it out. I wasn't interested in any of this. Like, this is not my world. Definitely not. This was so not my world. But she made this appointment for me and I went. And then the moment I saw Daniel, my life changed in a very spiritual way, because as I saw him for the first time, my first words to him were, oh my gosh, you're real. That was my first words. I had seen him in my visions my entire life. I couldn't believe it. So that was my first words. was, oh my gosh, you're real.
Yes.
And then he did the work with me. And when I opened my eyes after the couple of minutes that he was doing the work with me, I just looked at him straight in the eyes and I said, oh, I'm going to figure out what you just did. And I'm going to teach the world how to do this. And he kind of looked at me like, oh, I don't know about that. And then I was like, oh, you don't know me. Watch me. And
just wait.
Yeah. So that sassy pants moment I had of like, watch me, changed my life. And that was 15 years ago. And I've never looked back.
Wow.
This has been my
That's so fascinating
mission. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it is my mission. It is my mission to teach this to as many amazing people that want to learn something super cool, totally cutting edge, effortless, and your clients will love it. Love it.
I love that. So can you speak a little bit more on the basis? I know you said unconscious and I said reprogramming. I just got certified in neurolinguistic programming and timeline therapy and all that good stuff. I do a lot of somatic work with clients. And so I'm really curious, how is this different? What is the basis of it? And just a little bit more of that. And then, because this is the Authenticity Calling podcast and you're all about authenticity, I'd love to know how you got to this place of being so mystic. And you were telling me just before we started podcasting, I think it's fascinating that you grew up in that mystical world. So I would love, if you don't mind just speaking a little bit nerdy, talk nerdy to me on the science a little bit, and then let's dive into
you got it. I'm like class A nerd here. So the actual technique is quite scientific. It's Daniel remembered this. So we talk about a blue light story. Again, so much of this is from profound spiritual moments for both of us, and how we all came together. But he had what we call now the blue light event, which he had a couple of years before me, before I met him. So if I go into his background just a little bit, he is a master neurolinguistic programmer, and NLP. He's a master. He was doing this in the 80s. And I've got a really fun story about that. And he's also master hypnotherapist. Okay. How he got into this was he'd always kind of loved the Silva technique and, the Silva mind technique and all that. He'd always been pulled in and fascinated by the unconscious mind and how we could heal ourselves, that kind of thing. By design, though, he's very much like an engineer. Okay. His mind is very much like an engineer. Yeah. So, but he actually ended up in sales, of all things. So he decided when he was early 20s that he was going to go and see this guy who was teaching salesmen how to become better salesmen. This guy's name was Tony Robbins.
Oh, that one. Yeah.
Way back. Yeah, that guy. Like nobody knew this guy. This was way back in the 80s and the tickets were like $25, right? Yeah. Like nobody knew him. And it was in Canada. So like nobody knew him. Yeah. So Daniel goes off as a 20-year-old, gets himself down to the city and sits in the front row to see this guy, Tony Robbins, who's going to teach him how to be a better salesman. And so at the break, because Daniel's like really nerdy, he's like right at the front taking notes, doing the whole like, like I'm totally engaged. And Tony Robbins on the break took Daniel aside and said, buddy, you have got to take this thing called NLP and you've got to take hypnotherapy. And Daniel was like, done, I'm doing it. And the next thing Daniel did was went out and got these courses and he became and fell in love with it. It felt like home to him. He understood everything he was learning in a natural way. And then we're kind of like jump 20 years. So he'd always had, people that he worked with always for free, kind of just like enjoying being able to help people. But he was actually an entrepreneur, businessman, salesman. He owned his own pizzerias. He owned his own video stores. Like, again, that's way back in the 90s now. But as he kind of grew up, life kind of kicked him in the teeth and he had his own trauma. And what he says in his blue light story is, he said that he feels that he wrote a program that if anything ever happened to him, this program would kick off and something would happen. That's all he kind of knew. Anyways, something happened, this download kicked off, and he calls it the blue light experience. So in this blue light experience, he was at the end of his rope. He had no interest in really living anymore. Like it was over for him. He was just like, I'm done. And as he was walking to the bathroom, and what he says is he's not sure what he was really going to do, but he still got up and was walking towards the bathroom. When he hit the hallway, this thickness, he says it's like he walked into like jello. It was just like this thick energy field, and everything got really, really quiet. And he said, and all of a sudden he heard like a buzz, like zzz, and he looked up and there was like a stargate, like a ring, an electrical blue ring above his head, and it scanned him. It just like and went through the floor. When that was done, and he doesn't know if it like took hours or a nanosecond, he has no idea of how long, but he was in total peace. He was in total calmness, total clarity. He felt fabulous. And he was like, whoa, like that was cool. Went on with his day. Like meanwhile, he was kind of on the way to the bathroom to end his life, he thinks. And now he was like, like life's good. I'm going to go get some groceries. Like everything flipped because he couldn't feel bad at all. And then again, he doesn't really know the timelines because I think he was in, a state of like a state where he was in learning and being downloaded all the time. He started to realize that these horrible feelings were gone. Like, how did that happen? Like, what? So he leaned on his NLP training. He leaned on his education in this world of the unconscious mind. And he started to see incongruencies. He started to see, whoa, like if that's true, then that would make that true. Like, so he started to, it's almost like he expanded those two modalities, which were like, they're solid foundations, but he's taken the foundation and went like, there's like 99% more to learn from this. Like, this is like grade one, like this. And as the downloads started, he could see everything. And how he explains it is he remembered this ancient technology. He remembers being like, he talks about his life in Atlantis, and people in Atlantis were the technology. They weren't looking outside for technology. They were the technology. This was ancient tech. And this technology is from way before Atlantis. Like, and we know this because of, again, incredible spiritual experience that changed my life, changed his life. Like, I saw the truth. I was taken on a journey that was like profoundly true. Like, I can explain it, but I don't know how it happened, like why, all those kinds of things. Yeah. It just happened to me. So I believe the blue light story happened to him because they showed me all of the backing. They showed me the proof. They showed me why, who, all of those things. So as we started to move through this journey, before I met him, he started to figure out the F.I.X code. He started to like design it in a way. And then he was practicing with people and trying it to see if it worked, and it was working, like crazy working. So then when I met him, again, he didn't have a name for this. Like, this was just, as he said, it was like a party trick. Like, he didn't really know what to do with it. Like, and then when I met him, like, whoa, our lives totally changed. And the two of us kind of just got into business, and he healed me. I had my own trauma, brutal trauma that, again, nobody knew about. I was living with a smile on my face as everything was breaking on the inside. I owned my own big company. I had a gymnastics club. I owned, 7 days a week, lots of staff, lots of responsibility. Like, I had a 5-year-old at the time. And I had just gotten separated after 20 years, broke my heart. Like, that was kind of the last bottom that fell out for me. And I was starting to crack on the outside. And this is why my friend said to me this particular Wednesday night, she said, hey, like, we know something's up. Nobody's ever going to ask you. Like, you are the most private person in the world, which is ironic now that I spend my life on podcasts sharing my story.
The calling is
totally
real.
Inside out.
The calling is real.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So she kind of popped her head into my office at the gym one night. And she said, listen, I ran into a friend I went to high school with, and he's doing this kind of like really cool thing. And she goes, I just made you an appointment. I hope you don't mind. You're, Friday at 9:00 at my house. And I was like, that is so kind. Like, thank you. Thank you. Meanwhile, I'm just like, I can't talk. I can't do it. Oh my gosh. Like, what am I going to,
The
oh my God,
resistance.
I'm cracking on the
I want to
outside.
point out this resistance. This resistance is so important because this is the growth edge resistance that so many people feel that we never talk about. I just want to point that out while you're going. So sorry
Yeah,
to
it
interrupt. Keep
was,
going.
yeah, no, it was huge. And it was embarrassed and mortified and like, oh no, But by the time Friday morning came along and I dropped my little one off at school, I was driving to my girlfriend's house and I literally said this to myself. I feel like there's hope. Like I feel a little bit of hope. And I hadn't felt hope in like 5 to 6 years. And I was like, okay, if this guy makes me drink toad pee and it works, I'm drinking toad pee. I'm doing it. I need something to work. I can't do this by myself anymore.
Yeah.
And I didn't believe in talk therapy. I don't belong, like to me, that's just storytelling. Like I just, it's a waste of my time. Like I just can't do it.
Yeah.
And so I wasn't into like I didn't want to go to a doctor. I didn't want to, the resistance, like it was all there, but I was actually grateful for the resistance in hindsight for all those other things, because this was the one thing I actually didn't resist. I didn't want to do it, but I still went. Where had it been a doctor's appointment, I would have canceled. Like I would have been like, no. So this, I actually felt like there was hope. And I went. He did not make me drink toad pee, thank goodness. But like I said earlier, that when I walked in and I saw him, I knew what energy signatures were. And I knew him. I knew him profoundly. He had been like an elder to me in my vision. He had guided me. My whole life. When I had hard questions, when I was like different things, but it was like I could feel this essence guiding me or whispering to me or just like supporting me in my, and showing me things like, well, what about over here? And I'm like, what's over there? That kind of, like, I really did feel this. So when I saw him, it was a shock. So like everything about me opened up. Like I was just like, whoa, because I was in shock. And again, like the first words I ever said to him was, oh my gosh, you're real. Like, and I was so exposed energetically. Anyways, he felt the exact same way. He kind of welled up. He was so overwhelmed by meeting me, because he had also felt his whole life that he was waiting for this person. And he knew it was a girl. Yeah. And he knew he would know me when he met me. And like, there it was, like, oh. And then within minutes, I was doing the work. He was doing the work with me. And then within minutes, I shot my mouth off and changed my entire life and changed my destiny, or stepped into my destiny. But everything about how I moved to this little town, how everything just moved me towards him, was magical in hindsight. I mean, at the time, I'm like, why am I moving here? This is insane. Like, all those crazy things.
I love that. So trusting the flow. And that's what authenticity calling is all about. It's really about trusting that intuitive sense to be allowed to be pulled, to receive from the universe messages that they don't make sense. They really, a lot of times when we're being called spiritually to things, they don't make sense. However, spirit is so much wiser than logic and reason. And that's why I love this work. And I'm all about embodiment in terms of like the divine feminine. We need the masculine as well, because we're so inundated in our society in like doing. And we're doing it from a place of very logical, very structured, very, actually driving other people's agendas, not really intuitively honoring and owning who we really are and how we're here to show up in the world. It is so important. So I'm really curious, like, who would be an ideal client for this work? How would somebody know that they would really benefit from this? I don't like using the term like they need it, because I really don't think anybody needs anything. I think we're exactly the way we're meant to be, and you're perfect just as you are, and there is no need to fix you. So the fix method is not about fixing people. It's literally just waking up to the truth of who you are, is what I'm hearing. So how would somebody know?
It's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
So it's anybody. So here, what I'm going to do is I'll ask you the magic. I'll ask all of your listeners what I call the magic question.
I love it.
Yeah, we call it the magic question because it is kind of a magic. It's magical at how quickly the answer comes. And if you've got an answer, then this technique can help. And it can help every time, because every time I ask you after the work, you're going to have a different answer, because whatever you answered before is now gone. So you're not going to it's gone. So
we're doing the thing.
No, I'm going to just ask you the question.
Okay.
Yeah. So your question was, who is this for? So anybody that answers this question, we can help. This technique can help you. So here's the magic question. Biggest problem you have in your life right now, when you think about it, how does it make you feel? If you could put it in 1 or 2 words, what would it be?
Frustrated.
Okay. So for example, okay, so frustrated. So frustrated is about something not happening the way you want it to happen. So it's like there's a control mechanism in there. You want it to go a certain way. So what we would do very quickly is okay, so whatever you're thinking about, when you think about that, how does it make you feel? I get it's frustrating, but like there was a deeper construct underneath it. What is it? Is it like, are you mad at them? Are you?
Yeah. It's like controlled, micromanaged, limited, really held back, tightened like that.
That's it. There you go. Okay. So that would be your answer. So when we do the work, that is what we would remove, is all of that entanglement, all of those horrible feelings that are keeping you frustrated. Because when all of those under real issues, they are the root cause of your frustration. Frustration is like it's the aftermath. It's the symptoms of all of those things that you just said in that ball. Okay. So when we disconnect, when we go back to the event that is the root cause of all of that, and it's disconnected through the system that Daniel's created, you can no longer feel any of those feelings. Now, here's the coolest part that Daniel figured out. Most people think that the event is the problem. What she did, I can't make that work. Okay, she did that, he did that. I didn't get in here. I didn't get the car I wanted. I didn't get into the university I wanted. We think that that's causing all of our problems. That is not true. And this technique proves it every single time. The problem is how you feel about that event. And how you feel about that particular event is you actually feel that way about 1,000, 10,000 things in your life and through memory. So what happens is that when that feeling, let's say frustrated or whatever you cannot control, okay, you're limited, you're being held back. When that is triggered, whether it's by an email, you see a commercial, you see a cargo bot, whatever it is that triggers that in you unconsciously, you don't know that you've been triggered until you start to feel it in your chest or wherever this thing is lodged in the physical body, because these things tax the physical body, which just creates dis-ease.
The parasite. That's the parasite. Yeah. You can
absolutely. That's right. And exactly. And you can feel it wake up when you become quite present, and all of a sudden something's you're triggered. This whatever wakes up, you can feel it. It's almost like slow motion. It's like you can feel this thing waking up in your physical body. Now what happens is that all the memories that are attached to that feeling now move up into what we call the grand illusion. And now you go unconscious, because now all you're doing is thinking about all of the memories, all of the events in your life that you feel that way about. You don't know you're doing it, but you will spend all day thinking about all the events that have limited you, made you feel frustrated. Like now you're thinking about a girl in grade 10 that wouldn't let you buy in line or whatever. She cut in line at the cafeteria or whatever it is. You were limited in getting what you wanted. And you're thinking, why am I thinking about her in grade 10? Like, you got to be kidding me. It's because these things, when they wake up, they eat the movement of memory. And now all your memories that you feel that way about are now in your mind, and you're going through them. Now, here's where the crazy part starts.
Yeah.
Conscious looping. And what happens is the loop does this. You go through the story and you solve it. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to say this. I'm going to wear this. I'm going to get there early. You solve your problem. Okay. This is what happens to the memory. It closes up, solved, and it opens right back up at the beginning again. And now you're doing it again. And you're going through all the actions of what you're going to do for whatever. So that all stops. So if anybody is interested in the loop stopping, the story stopping, the never being able to move forward, that feeling stuck, limited is a big one. And limiting is like, you can't move forward, right? Like that's like, okay. There's also all the emotions of the past that keep pulling people back to the past. And it's like, I just want to move forward. And they can't let go of the trauma. They can't get out of the post-traumatic stress. They can't get out of that story, okay, whatever it is. Yeah. They cannot let go of that feeling. And I've tried. I've tested this technique. I'm the crash test dummy. That's literally what I say. I have tested this thing. I've thrown it at the wall. I've thrown myself at the wall. I have tried every which way to debunk this technique to not work. And I've yet to figure it out in 15 years. And I'm really smart. And I really know this technique. And I have yet to win. It solves my problem every single time. So if you are someone that wants to let go of your past, stop thinking about that, whatever that is, and feel free from all of that, then by all means, click the button. And everybody in the world can click the button and receive a 15-minute complimentary session by one of our practitioners. So every one of our practitioners pays it forward because I did it for them and they do it for everybody. So everybody volunteers a day a week or a block of time a week or 2 weeks. Like we have lots of people. So the schedule everybody rotates, but everybody pays it forward so that anybody in the world can click the button at any time and book a session and try this or get help in the moment. And that is our mission, is to be able to help anybody immediately, free, like complimentary. Like you don't need money to get help right now. That's exciting. Yeah. And that's just part of who we all are.
And it is a shift, like that shift. And I know a lot of people are going to hear this. They're going to think, oh, it's too good to be true. Or yeah, for them, maybe not for me. Or, oh, but there's a gimmick. Or, oh, there's something. No, sometimes it really does take that one. Again, it's like trusting your intuition, trusting that sign, trusting, whatever it is, that calling. If you're listening to this and if you're really feeling curious or maybe even triggered or, called to prove the process wrong. I love that.
Yeah.
Book your call and try it out. Because what's the worst thing that can happen? It doesn't work and you're still where you are. But imagine that it does work, which I'm hearing it always does. How your life can drastically change from, honestly, those 15 minutes. I have had those moments, those 15 minutes. There was a kid, we were at my son's soccer, and one of the younger brothers of one of the players, he was so afraid of dogs. Like I'm talking anxiety through the roof. I did my process with him. I asked his mom first for permission, but literally 15 minutes later, and he's loved dogs ever since. And so it can literally change the trajectory of your life. These tools are so powerful. And I'm so grateful that you're so generously offering this to the audience and just to anybody who's here, and that you're so passionate about spreading this, because it is powerful and it does work. And yeah, I'm really grateful. Thank you for coming on the podcast. Thank you for sharing this amazing gift. How can people get a hold of you? What is the website in case they're listening and they don't have the link to click?
Sure. Yeah, it's thefixcode.com, and you just kind of roll through it. There's lots there, but I think when you pop it open, it's just like book a call, go for it. And I think right now the promotion is you're going to get me. I think think that's the promo. Yeah.
Awesome.
So it depends on what way you come through. But right now, the promo that's out there, I think mine is the link that's on the promo right now. So you'll get me. But also too, if there's anybody that wants to learn how to do this and learn more about learning how to do this and becoming a practitioner and bringing this technique into your private practice, adding it in as a toolkit, like adding it into your existing toolkit. This is like the bazooka, the huge. This is the one where if your client, like you did with the kid with the dogs, it's like in the moment right now, and it's solved. The amount of kids, like my son is now 22. He's a fixed code kid. His friends are fixed code kids. They've had this since they were 5 years old, and they don't know a life without it.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's very powerful, and the people's lives that I've personally seen explode and expand into a life that they create versus stopped by any fear or stuck or frustrated or limited or
which is
can't get
all
out
of
of
our
the past.
reasons, all of the reasons we're not actually living the life we're meant to be living. And if you have, I always tell people, if you have a vision, it's because it's yours to own and yours to become and yours to create. And so if you're not there yet, there's something that is holding you back. Let's figure out what that is, and let's outgrow those moments, those misbeliefs. So I absolutely thank you so much for being on the podcast, for sharing this amazing gift and so generously, and your passion, like your energy is just, it's just so bubbly. And I love that, because that is the life force energy we talk about. That is the P3 alchemy mastery method, like passion, purpose, potential. You are living it. You are doing it. Stacy, thank you so much for being here with us. So grateful for you, and all the power to your mission.
Thank you so much. I love it. Awesome.